My name is Donna. Standing in my new office, transformed from my father's old one with state of the art tech, I watched as my siblings, Amelia and Ethan, and my mother, Beatrice, were led in by security. Their faces were a mix of shock and desperation, a far cry from the arrogance they'd shown before. It all started when we gathered in that mahogany, paneled office for my father's will reading. Amelia was adjusting her Prada suit, and Ethan was checking his Breitling watch, a gift from our father's last overseas business venture. Can we get this over with? I've got a chain of luxury hotels to manage, Amelia demanded impatiently. Ethan smirked, unlike some people who just tinker with computers all day. Little did they know that my tinkering had built Novatech into a $55 billion tech behemoth. My father, a shrewd and forward-thinking man, had insisted I keep my success under wraps as part of our long-term plan. The family lawyer, Mr. Thompson, began reading the will. My mother, a traditional woman who valued social status above all, dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed silk handkerchief. "Your father always knew how to handle business," she said, then whispered to Amelia. "Unlike Donna. Remember when she suggested we invest in digital startups?" What a laugh. As Mr. Thompson read on, Mom got her personal estate and shares in the family mansion. Amelia was bequeathed 30% of our family business, Heritage Hotels, and the position of CEO. She stood up straight, looking triumphant. "Finally, someone competent in charge," she declared. Ethan received 30% of the company and the position of CFO. He grinned. The dynamic duo takes over. Then it was my turn. To my daughter Donna, my collection of technical books and 0 shares in the company, Mr. Thompson announced. Amelia couldn't hide her glee. "0, just like your contribution to this family." Mom frowned. Even the gardeners got something. But I stayed silent. Dad and I had spent the past 6 years carefully planning this moment. Ethan declared, "Now that's settled. Let's discuss the future of Heritage Hotels. Donna, you can leave." Just then, a new voice came from the doorway. My lawyer, M.S. Lee, entered with a leather briefcase. Amelia rolled her eyes. "We're done here. Security, show them out." M.S. Lee calmly said, "I represent Novatech, and we have some very interesting information about the ownership structure of Heritage Hotels." The room fell silent. Ethan frowned. "Novatech? The tech giant that's been buying up everything." Amelia waved it off. "What does that have to do with us?" "Yes." Lee smiled and opened her briefcase. "Everything. Would you like to meet the CEO of Novatech?" Amelia demanded. "What do you mean, everything?" Ethan stepped in, trying to sound authoritative. "Novatech is just another company we can deal with later. This is a family matter." At that moment, I checked my phone. Novatech had just completed the acquisition of Heritage Hotels' major suppliers. Dad's final move was executed perfectly. Amelia sneered at me. "Shouldn't you be leaving? 0 shares means no say." Mom nodded in agreement. "Donna, know your place. The technical books are in the attic next to those old computers you love." "MS," Lee interjected. "Those old computers are now extremely valuable, especially the ones used to build Novatech's first prototype." Ethan laughed sharply. "Donna can't even build a simple app, let alone a valuable tech company." If only they knew that those seemingly worthless prototypes had revolutionized artificial intelligence in the hospitality industry. Dad had watched me build Novatech from that attic, while Amelia and Ethan thought I was just playing around. Amelia declared, "The future of Heritage Hotels is clear. Ethan and I will modernize it. No more crazy tech ideas from the family failure." Just then, my phone buzzed. The final transfers were complete. MS. Lee smiled. "About that modernization, you might want to check who owns your technology suppliers." Amelia's face turned red. "Our suppliers are under strict contracts." I finally spoke with Novatech, along with your hotel management systems, reservation networks, and cloud storage.
Ethan scoffed. "Impossible."
But he was already reaching for his phone to check. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "There is one more document, A letter from your father to be read after the will. Amelia smirked. More instructions to keep Donna away from the business. Mr. Thompson adjusted his glasses. Actually, it's about Novatech's ownership of Heritage Hotel's parent company, Global Hospitality Group. The room went deathly silent. I stood up slowly, smoothing my simple blouse. Would you like me to explain, or should my lawyer do it? Ethan declared. This is ridiculous. We control Heritage Hotels with 60% combined ownership. MS. Lee suggested, check your phones. The ownership structure has just been updated. Amelia gasped as she saw the notification. Ethan's face went pale. Mom stammered, but that's not possible. I smiled, thinking of all the late nights Dad and I had spent planning. Actually, it's not only possible. It's done. The real show is about to begin. Amelia demanded. What do you mean it's done? MS. Lee announced. Novatech, through its subsidiaries, owns Global Hospitality Group, which as of this morning is the parent company of Heritage Hotels. Ethan sputtered. We would have known. I asked quietly. Would you? You were too busy mocking my computer projects to notice I was building an empire. Mom's face turned ashen. MS. Lee confirmed. As of this morning, Novatech is worth $55 billion, making Donna one of the youngest tech billionaires in history. Amelia laughed hysterically. This is absurd. Donna can't even balance a budget. I pulled out my tablet and showed her holdings. Would you like to see the spreadsheets I used to acquire your suppliers? Or the algorithms that now manage your hotels? Ethan jumped up. I'll call our lawyers.
Yes.
Lee smiled. They're already here, along with documentation of every acquisition approved by your late father. Mom whispered, Your father knew about this. I nodded. Who do you think helped me plan it? All those nights you thought he was wasting time in the attic with me, he was teaching me about business. While you two were fighting over corner offices, we were building something much bigger. Amelia's face contorted. You're lying. Daddy would never. I cut her off. Let Mr. Thompson read the letter. Mr. Thompson began, To my dear family, while you measured success in luxury suites and fancy cars, Donna measured it in patents and innovations. She didn't need shares in Heritage Hotels. She built something far greater. I've watched my youngest daughter turn a room full of old computers into a tech empire. Now it's time for you to see what I've seen all along. Donna isn't just my daughter. She's the most brilliant business mind I've ever known. And now she's your boss. The silence was deafening. Ethan collapsed into his chair, and Amelia's mascara started to run. Mom's voice trembled. All those times we sent you to the attic. I said, I was running board meetings for Novatech. Those technical books Dad left me are worth more than Heritage Hotel's entire market value. MS. Lee opened another folder. The official transfer of power takes effect immediately. Miss Donna is now the CEO of both Novatech and Heritage Hotels. Amelia protested, but our shares, we own 60%. I corrected, of a subsidiary. Novatech owns 70% of your parent company. Basic corporate structure. Something you'd know if you'd ever read those reports you ignored. Ethan's phone buzzed. His face went ashen as he read the message. The board has approved the restructuring. I smiled. Of course they did. They work for me now. You just didn't know it. Amelia grabbed the lawyer's copy of Dad's letter, her hands shaking. This has to be a forgery. I pulled up Novatech's patent portfolio on the screen. Like the forged patents you said I could never get? Or the fake technology you said would never work? Ethan was frantically scrolling through his phone. Our stock, it's frozen. MS. Lee confirmed, pending the official merger announcement. Novatech is absorbing Heritage Hotels completely. Mom wailed. The company has been in our family for generations. I replied calmly, and it still is, just under different management, mine. Amelia raged. You planned this all along. You and Daddy were building the future while you were busy spending company money on sports cars. I retorted, How's that Ferrari, by the way? The one you expensed as a business necessity. Ethan stood up, straightening his tie. Now listen here, little sister. I cut him off. No, you listen. Your security clearances have been revoked. Your executive parking spaces are reassigned. I'm turning your corner offices into a coding lab. Mom clutched her pearls. But what about my charity events?
My social standing.
I smiled. You should have thought about that before you told everyone I was a failure. I'm sure the high society folks will be very interested in meeting the CEO of Novatech. Lee opened another folder. Here are your new employment contracts if you want to stay with the company. Amelia screeched, We're owners. I corrected, Now you're potential employees if you qualify. Ethan snatched the contract and went pale. This is an entry-level position in the IT department. I nodded, since you both think computer work is so easy. As Novatech's executive team filed in, carrying tablets with the Novatech logo, my head of operations told Amelia, Your office needs to be cleared by 5. The development team needs the space. Amelia's perfect composure finally broke. You can't do this to us. I stood up, smoothing my blouse. Actually, I already have. But don't worry, Dad left you those technical books. You might want to start reading. Now, as they stood in front of me, Amelia pleaded, Donna, we were wrong. Can we talk? I looked at them, thinking about all the years of mockery. You were wrong about everything, technology, business, and what it means to succeed. But you'll have time to learn, starting from the bottom.